My name's Charley Dickey, and I'm running for the office of Town Board Trustee here in Estes Park, Colorado.
Okay. And what makes Estes Park the best mountain town vacation destination?
Well, for me, having grown up in Nebraska and vacationed in Colorado most of my life, coming up and over that hill and seeing the mountains was one of the best parts of Estes Park. I think since I've lived here, I've gotten to experience the wildlife, and that's just such a huge part of coming to Estes Park. I think that's probably what makes Estes Park one of the best destinations in the world.
Okay. And what do you envision for the long-term future of Estes Park?
Well, Estes Park has got a lot of history. Along with history comes a lot of age. So I think in our future we're looking at some redevelopment, some additional development to make it easier for our visitors to come and stay here. Some of our aged properties need to be spiffed up a little bit, and I see that happening every summer. People are out there working and painting and making things look better, and I think that enhances the experience that our visitors have here.
What unique abilities and/or skills will you bring to the town board?
Well, ever since I moved here, I've put myself out there and I've visited with the businesses and the community. I've got myself involved and engaged in probably way too many committees, but it's given me a good feel for what the pulse of the community is and what the needs are, and areas that we're lacking in and areas that we need to work on. It's also given me an appreciation for the community as a whole itself. When it comes together during crises and pulls together, although there's all those controversial things that also come up too. So I think one of my abilities that I have is I listen to both sides of the issues that people have. I try to use that to come up with my own idea about what's best for the community. But listening to both sides and being engaged and involved is probably my strong suit.
Okay. And on that note, when there is a great divide of opinion on an issue, how would you bring both sides together? Well,
compromise is probably the best method to come to terms with a divisive issue. There's always common ground, as minor as it may seem. That's the common ground that a person needs to build on. When there's issues that come up, for example, the loop's probably a prime example of that. Some of the common ground that came out of the loop was that the town really needs parking, as opposed to maybe rerouting of its main streets. When I did a survey of over 1,000 people, parking was by far the most important thing that people felt, and it was more important than rerouting our streets. So I think using that common ground, I've been able to discuss and talk to people that are opposed to the loop and people that are pro-loop.
Okay. What economic concerns should we focus on immediately here?
Primary issue I see right now probably is the hot topic is housing. Workforce housing, affordable housing. We have such a problem with hiring people to work the service industries that we have. And some of that hiring problem is due to they can't find a place to live, so they can't afford to live here.
And how can living in Estes Park be more desirable and affordable for young families?
Well, we have some things going on with housing. The Housing Authority is taking a look at the Fish Creek Hatchery as a possible place to develop for workforce housing, which would also be affordable for people that work in the service industry. I think that's a good step. I think we need to look at a lot of the things that we approve. We look at reducing density all the time, and I think there's areas that we need to look at increasing density, such as workforce housing, second floor apartments in even the downtown district, where second floor doesn't do so well when it comes to retail, but it does well if it comes to a more modern living style. So I think those are two of the steps in the right direction. We're probably never going to be able to solve all of the housing problems, but with a shortage of anywhere from 1,400 to 1,600 units needed to supply our town currently, it's a large issue. We also have another 1,000 people from the housing study that commute up here, that actually live down the valley and work up here. I would just appreciate the vote come April 5th, of course. Ever since I've been here, I've worked for the betterment of the community, and I haven't stopped doing that on a volunteer basis, and I would continue to do that as a town board trustee.